All right, you guys, so this is part 2 of the video, and I actually need to, I thought this was going to be a quick job, but I actually need to remove this this downpipe, because, so kind of starting over, but because, which is okay to start over. You see this bracket here? This bracket here? This is, and you see these two bolts here? They are about, let me see if I can focus. They are about 2 millimeters away from the pipe. I don't want that. And this bracket actually can be removed. There is, I believe it's one bolt here, so it's a bracket, and then another bolt somewhere over here where my middle finger is, this one here. And I felt around it. It's just a bracket, so it's a bracket on a bracket. I have to PB blast these bolts probably, and that's about it. But I do need to take this off, so that means using the deep socket wrench to remove those bolts in there. Can you even see them? There they are. That's one of them. And then removing those bolts over there connecting to the catalytic converter. So not a problem. The saga continues. All right, so I removed the downpipe, and now I have a better picture of what this bracket looks like. It's just a bracket, and it attaches over here and over here, and this is where I guess the original OEM downpipe was attached to. And so I am going to remove it. I'm not sure what size these are. Probably 14s. Let's see, just real quick. See if this fits. Oh yeah. So that's a 14. I'll need a 14. I have this one here. That one doesn't look like a 14 over there. Maybe. Let's see. No, that one's probably a 12. Maybe that one's a 12 over there. Oh yeah, how we know our Hondas. That one's a 12. So I will probably have to PB blast this and this to loosen them up, and then I'll remove this bracket. Alright, you guys, I thought this was going to be like a really tough task, but it was super easy. 12 millimeters, 14 millimeters, PB blast this stuff. It came off so easily. You know, it's kind of one of the benefits of making sure things are torqued to spec. I mean, they're not like torqued to hell. And also one of the benefits of keeping the car inside, rust doesn't accumulate. And so now that I'm removing this this bracket, I'm gonna have lots of space in this area. Lots of space in this area for the downpipe that's a little wider, and connect it to the catalytic converter. All right, well, you know what, you guys, I decided to put these bolts back on, and the reason is because it feels like this needs to be still held well. And I checked the torque reading at 16 foot-pounds on each side to tighten it up. So I'm going to use my digital torque wrench to tighten these guys up. And this is it. I'm going to christen it with this move here. Alright, so I ended up reattaching the bolts and torquing to 16 foot-pounds, and the digital wrench worked beautifully. I was just a little nervous because this thing looked like it was kind of loose, and I thought, well, maybe it's there for a reason. So I reattached the bolts, and now to attach everything back. And I'll give you the specs on that, and where it attaches, where the downpipe attaches up above. I'm going to attach the downpipe. Of course, I got to put on the gasket, and I need these bolts sorry, these nuts onto those bolts over here, and I believe the torque is about 33 foot-pounds, and I need my 14 millimeter deep socket to do that. 33 foot-pounds is what I found online. Okay, so I have attached the downpipe. It's not completely torqued to spec just yet. The reason I have not torqued it, let's see if we can do this. There we go. There's one bolt, and there's another bolt, and then there's the third bolt. They're not torqued to spec yet, and like I said, about 33 pounds. The reason is because I want to attach this loosely. I ended up getting a new spring kit, a compression kit, and the reason is because this bolt is just slightly longer. The old bolts don't match up as much. Here's the washer gasket. They don't match up as much. This is slightly shorter, I think, so I needed a slightly longer bolt kit, and you can get that anywhere. Alrighty, so that's what that looks like. You see that gasket is pretty thick, so I needed a longer bolt, and I used the old spring because the new spring was actually too big. So I used the old spring with the new bolts, and I'm able to get that all fit. And the gasket or seal there is pretty thick, as you can see. But now it's time to torque everything to spec. Okay, the other moment of truth here is that there is the hole for the O2 sensor. I can't use the O2 sensor hole that's above because it is blocked off by... Alright, moment of truth here is before I torque everything up, I need to make sure that the O2 sensor fits here in this hole. It does not fit in the other bunghole because of, I think, the engine. The block is in the way, so I need to use this lower one, but need to make sure that the O2 sensor doesn't bump up against that boot. So I'm going to mock it up. So this is a mock-up. This is the old one. I'm going to put a new one in here, but as you can tell, it does not bump up against anything. So let me get this out of the way. So I am in luck. So I'm going to put in the new one now. And by the way, this is the new O2 sensor, and it's a perfect fit in here. And it is a different configuration, but it still does not bump up against the boot at all, which is fantastic. Definitely some millimeters of clearance, which is fine. I think that's going to be fine for anything that we'll need here. This isn't gonna move around a lot. So that's it. Now I'm going to tighten everything up and torque everything up. But just FYI, this guy that I bought for this car fits 100%. This is the oxygen sensor, and when I have everything set up, I'll turn on the car so that everyone can see what's going on. Alright, well, unfortunately my socket tool couldn't fit over the body of this and this cable, so I used just a regular wrench to tighten this. And I tightened it to what I perceived was between 25-30 foot-pounds. I think that's about right. And now I'm going to tighten these guys here. Now, the controversy here is that I'm seeing different torque readings. Some say 25 foot-pounds, some say 33. So I'm going to go down the middle and say something like 2930 foot-pounds per torque of torque in this for this bolt, and I think we should be good. Alrighty, so these have been torqued to 30 pounds, 30 foot-pounds, and what a beautiful sound. Now I'm going to torque these. I believe the spec is 16 foot-pounds. So let's see if we can do it. Alright everyone, so I found out the torque on the O2 sensor is 30 foot-pounds. I think I pretty much mimic that. This is about 16. I pretty much mimic that as well. The cable for the O2 sensor, because it's attaching all the way down here, I have to get an extension, and let me get to the front and show you that right around here. So I pulled it out from here, so you see that, okay? That's where it connects to the bunghole down at the downpipe, and I got an extension, this extension here, that goes and runs all the way to the O2 sensor here, right? This originally attached to the exhaust manifold that was here. I'm actually going to loosen all of these up and tighten them to spec. I believe spec is about 22 foot-pounds. So I'm going to use my new handy dandy tool to tighten these to spec. Alrighty, so I'm going to torque these up. These are 12 millimeters, all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm supposed to go like in an X pattern. This guy is really tough to get to because of just the space that's here, so I'm going to have to hand tighten this and get the feel for it. I do have a 12 millimeter wrench, an old school wrench that I can use, but I feel like once I tighten all of these out, I'll be able to get a feel for this guy. Alright, so I believe this is, what did I say, 22 foot-pounds. So I turned it on, and I used this SU to set it up. I used the up arrow to go to 22. And let's keep going. 22. Alright, 22 and 22 foot-pounds. And I set it up, and I move up to track. Put the up arrow to go to T. I don't want to go to P, I want to go to T. And let's start tightening. We'll start with the center one here. And you'll hear a beep once we start getting close. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to tighten this guy by hand. Great. That's kind of the sense I got. So let's keep going. One more left. That's it. We started up. Alrighty, so I've lowered the car. I also wiped the headers with some alcohol so that take the fingerprints off of them, and just check the connections real quick on the O2 sensor. Everything seems to be snapped in place. Okay, everything seems to be snapped in place. I reconnected the battery, and it's loose right now, but that's okay. I will tie it down later on. But let's try it out and let's see how the car starts. Alright folks, took me into the wee hours of the night, but it did turn on. The battery was full on dead, but it did turn on, so I'm really happy with the results.